Hi everybody, this is Sarah Morris, your career coach, and today we're talking about how to overcome your fear of failure when finding a new career. So number one is test. You're going to test out your different career ideas as much as possible before actually jumping in and making that change. There are so many ways that you can test out these different careers these days when you've got access to the internet and essentially you've got everybody at your global reach. So what you need to do is find as many Facebook groups, LinkedIn profiles, YouTube videos of people who work or who are representing in some way the sector or industry or sort of type of environment you want to go in, and link up with these people. Nobody minds about being approached. In fact, most people are flattered to get others asking them for their expertise in a certain area. So don't be afraid to reach out to people and ask them. Ask them what it's like to work in that sector. Ask them what skills you need and tell them about yourself. Be authentic. Tell them about your story. Don't try to put on a front or try to fake who you are. Just be yourself and approach people really genuinely, really informally, and ask them if you can learn a bit more about what it is that they do and what they're involved in. And then if you can go a little bit beyond that and actually see if you can take some time to go and volunteer, if you have time, that can be in an evening, on a weekend, or that sort of time when you're not otherwise working, then do. And when you sort of decide that you are going to head towards a particular new career or a new career change, then take mini steps in it. So it can be a big leap jumping from one thing right into something else that's completely different. But if you take mini steps that are working towards getting there over a few weeks, months, or even over a couple of years, every time you achieve that little step, it's going to give you that positive feedback you need to help you feel more confident about what you're doing and to help you learn that actually it's going in the direction and that it's going to be a success. So you don't have to make this huge leap all in one go. You can take little steps to get that. And if you can make a success of each step, then that's going to tell you that it's okay to take the next step and move forward. And when we're talking about skills as well, if you're thinking about, if you're worrying about not having the right skills, there are lots of ways that you can gain these skills, sometimes even for free, by doing online courses on things like Coursera or edX, for example, or by doing the training or the sort of extra learning in your free time. And that's going to help you build the confidence up so that you can then present yourself as having the right skills when you move on. So number one for overcoming your fear of failure is to test. Number two is to challenge those fears. So a lot of the fears we have are actually just in our own head and in reality aren't really going to be that real. And also, if they happen, aren't necessarily going to be that bad. So one of the things you need to do is, and you can actually do this on paper, is you can write a list of all the things you're worried about. And then you can rate it 1 to 10 as the likelihood of happening. And then you can rate it as 1 to 10, how bad is it going to be if it happens? And if you add up these scores, you might actually find that really the likelihood of things happening are quite low. And then if they are to happen, well, the consequences are actually not that bad either. So tackle your fears head on, write them down, rate them for how likely they're really going to happen, and then rate them for how bad it would be if it would really happen. And then try to challenge those ideas by actually trying to tell yourself in a more positive way that really they're not likely to happen at all. And if they do, it's not really going to be a problem. Step 3 is that you're going to actually embrace failure. All the successful people out there in the world have had failure. We've all had failure. And So telling yourself that failure is actually okay and is actually part of the process is fine. Whenever we do something new, we're always going to have some kind of hiccups along the way, some kind of things that don't work. It's absolutely to be expected. And that's why, when you're bringing out a new product or a new thing, or you're developing a new business, you know that along the way, certain things are not going to work. And that's why you have to keep assessing yourself and sort of appraising yourself and trying to make yourself better as you go along. And